Let's see how many viewers we have. Hello out there, this is Lucia, broadcasting to you live. Just gonna take a look at the YouTube page, which is where most people are. I have one person watching. The chat box is about to appear. We're gonna wait a few seconds to see how many more people join. So far we have 2 people watching. Hello out there, this is Lucia. We're gonna wait a few seconds to see if we have any other users before I begin. First, I'd like to thank you guys for coming to our YouTube session. This is my first YouTube webinar, or I should just say webinar in general. What the platform that I'm using is called Hangouts on Air via YouTube Live. So it uses something called Google Hangouts, which is a feature of Google, but it allows the webinar to stream on YouTube, which is easily accessible by anybody with a computer, even if they don't have or are not familiar with Google Hangouts. So if you're here, go ahead and try to use the chat. Chat should be on your top right side. I'm going ahead and share my screen with you all. I'm going to switch over, share screen. I know that looks like a lot. Boom. So now you should be seeing my screen. And over here on your right side of your screen, depending on whether or not you're on a phone or a laptop, obviously I'm on a laptop, then you'll see that there's a chat box on the right side of the screen. Currently, we have 2 people watching. I think I'll wait until about 6:05 to see how many people we get in. And maybe some people who are still setting up their Google account. If you can hear my voice, can you do me a favor and type in the chat box? I can hear you. I just want to make sure that everyone can hear me and they can see my screen. Hopefully on the screen now you're seeing where it says Google Tools and it looks like a slideshow. I'm going to check how many people we have in now. Maybe try refreshing the page. I have 2 people watching. Okay, that's okay. I'm going to start in about 2 minutes if you're just joining us. Hello again. If you're just joining us, we'll start in about 2 minutes, waiting for more people to come in. And if you can hear me, please in the chat box say, I can hear you. Hopefully you'll see a chat box on the right side. Okay, we have 4 people watching. Welcome. It's Lucia here, and you are at the webinar for Google Docs with Lucia. This is preferably for beginners, but if you are an intermediate to advanced person, then you're more than welcome to watch. You may learn a few tips and tricks and see what's coming forward in my next webinar. I'm going to wait about 1 more minute to see if we get any other users in. Abiel, great to see you. If you can, just go ahead and activate your chat. You may have to, in order to activate the chat box, if for some reason you can't see it, you have to create a YouTube channel account, and then it'll allow you to sign in and comment and everything. If you're okay with not chatting, then you are more than welcome to not choose to create a YouTube channel. That's fine with me. You can just sit back, watch, grab a notebook and a pen, take some notes. There is a slideshow that I will be sharing with you after this webinar is over. So hopefully right now on your screen, you can see it says Google Tools. And it should look like a slideshow. I see we have six people, 6 viewers so far. It is now 6:05, so I am about to begin. Just want to double check to make sure everyone can hear me. And if you can't, let's see. I'm going to type in the chat box. Can you hear me? Awesome. Hi, Michelle. So glad to see you. Okay, just making sure. So today we're going to start off by learning a little bit more about Google's main tool, which is Google Docs. You hear a lot of people refer to it as Google Docs or just Docs, but here's what I want you to do today. If you are on a laptop, preferably, then I would like you to click on a new tab. Right now, I'm using Google, which is my preferred choice, especially for this purpose. But if you have Firefox or Safari or some other browser, it'll be fine. You'll be able to access the Google Doc from any browser. But it just integrates very well with Google Chrome, obviously, because it's made by Google. Now, if you don't know me at all, my name is Lucia Hassel. I'm an educator. I've been in education for over 10 years, specifically in the realm of educational technology, and I love everything about Google. If you know me well, then, or have worked with me in education, then you may have heard me refer to Google's suite of tools as the Google juice. And I say that I like to stir up the Google juice, pour it up, pass it out to any and everyone that I know, because I love Google. They have so many free tools and applications that are great for any student who's currently in college or graduate school. Great for small business owners like myself. I run a face painting and graphic design business, entrepreneurs. And it's great for anyone who's just trying to organize their personal life. And obviously, it's also great for educators such as myself to use in and outside of the classroom. So hopefully we'll have a diverse set of viewers today to get through this. So if you haven't already, just go ahead, open a new tab. Hopefully you're in Chrome. If not, it's okay. Won't hold it against you, at least not today. And then you're going to sign into your Drive by going to drive.google.com. That's this right here, drive.google.com. And then you're going to sign into your Google account so you have 2 tabs open. At the top of my screen, as you can see, I have 4 tabs open, but that's just because I'm doing a lot tonight. But hopefully you'll have 2. One, which is your Drive. Once you sign in, your Drive will look a little something like this, or it may look like this. And you know you're there because if you hover over the circle on the right side, you'll see your Google account that you're signed into, which one. And you'll also see the word My Drive over here. So let me go back and see how many viewers we have. All right, so let's get this started. Hopefully you're all set up there. Here's a little preview of what we plan to do within our hour. First things first is we're going to dive into the Google Cloud, because all of Google's tools are on a cloud platform. If you've heard of the word cloud and heard people talking about it, but you're not really sure what it really means, then it's important that you understand that before you understand how to use Google Docs. So we're going to dive into that. Then I'm going to share with you how to share and collaborate using Google Docs. A lot of people may be familiar with Microsoft Office, which is Word. Now, Google Docs is basically Google's version of Microsoft Word, but it's in the cloud, it's on the internet, it's easily accessible. Some people, when they first start working in Google Docs, they look at it as a watered down version of Microsoft Word, which, if I'm being honest here, when it first started, that is true. That sentiment is true. However, over time, Google is constantly updating and adding new things. And when at this point in the game, they have far surpassed Microsoft Word and what it can do, the power, and it's really in these two words here, share and collaborate. After that, we're going to uncover some tools and tips when it comes to Google Docs. Remember, this is for beginners. So we'll do some basic things like exploring templates, formatting options, interesting editing options, and how you can comment on Google Docs. Lastly, we'll do a recap about what you learned because I am a teacher, and we'll see how you guys will share out how you can apply it in your own lives. And we'll talk a little bit about what's next. So what is the cloud? All right, the cloud is basically anything that is saved via the internet. So we know that the internet is kind of like up there in this digital realm. Well, that's what the cloud is. And people are using the cloud to do a number of things. First things first, it's web-based. Google's cloud in particular allows you to store a lot of things. When people first get introduced to Google's cloud, which is also known as Drive or Google Drive, which if you're just joining us, that's the extra tab I've asked you to open. It's to go to drive.google.com. Let me click real quick and see how many viewers we have. Great. There's a bunch of people who can hear me. So we have Google's version of the cloud, which is Google Drive. It's web-based. A lot of people use it to store items, but they don't know that there are these wonderful productivity tools that allow you to not just store files, but create files and then share them with other people, and then a bunch of other things. It's also device friendly. This is one of the benefits and where Google really started to surpass Microsoft Word and Office before they created Microsoft Office 365. The thing that they did by putting it in the cloud on the internet is that your work, when it's saved on the internet. So it's not tied to any specific device. That's why it's this word. It's device friendly. So that means you can access your documents, your files from any device that has internet access. That's right. Which also makes it extremely mobile, which, as we know, is everything about today's technology. The biggest thing that I want you to remember about Google Drive or Google's version of the cloud is storage. Now, back in the day, we may remember a series of ways that storage of documents and files have changed over time. One of the more common ones before the cloud is the obvious flash drive. So when you think about the cloud, I want you to think about a flash drive that's on the internet that you can't see. It's not physical. But just to take you down memory lane a little bit, you may also think about this guy over here. Now, for our younger audience, this is a floppy disk. It's not just the icon that you use to save. It is actual floppy disk, and people definitely used to use them. The problem with these old floppy disks is that they're a little fickle, They wouldn't always work. They can only save but so much space, but so much information in them because it had limited space. Well, the cloud changes all that. As you can see, we've come a long way. We went from the large floppy disk, where Apple's very first computers, we used these, to the smaller 3.5 inches floppy disk. Then we had those things for a while called zip drives. I remember a very infamous episode on Sex and the City about zip drives and saving your work. And this was really for making copies and backup. Then we even started burning files on CDs for a while. Do you guys remember that? Yeah, that was an interesting time. Then we started to switch off into these SD cards, and then the cards started to change size in multiple different ways. And then finally, someone invented the USB port, and we had flash drives, and those really saved our lives. Now, I remember when you first purchased a flash drive, a 1 gigabyte flash drive would be probably more than $40. Now you can go to Target or even CVS and buy a flash drive that has like 6 to 16 gigabytes for as cheap as $10. So we've really come a long way. Now, from that, we're moving into the cloud, where you no longer need a piece of hardware to carry around with you that you might lose or might get corrupted. No, instead, we're saving things to the cloud, up in the internet space, the digital realm. So, what do I want you to remember about the cloud? Storage, definitely. The next thing I want you to remember about the cloud for Google is the fact that Google Drive has productivity tools. Now, by creating a Gmail account, you automatically get free access to these productivity tools. The productivity tool that we're going to focus on today is Google Docs. But I want you to know that there's way more than that. And I might give you a brief sneak peek after 7 if you want to stick around for that. By creating your Gmail account, you automatically get 15 gigabytes of storage. Remember, I told you Google's cloud is called Drive, and you get a certain amount of storage with it for free. 15 gigabytes is a lot of storage. Thing that most people don't know about this storage is that the files that you put inside of it all take away from your storage except for Google's productivity files. So, for example, this is a slideshow. It's made with Google Slides. I can put 5 million Google Slides in my Google Drive, but it will not take away from my free 15 gigabytes of storage because it's made with Google's productivity tools. The same thing for your Docs or for your Google Forms or anything else that you make with Google. But all those other files, such as PDFs, pictures, videos, those all can be saved in Drive, but they take away from the storage. Here are some of the other productivity apps that you may be interested in learning about that I find very helpful. So you have Docs at the top, which is basically Google's version of Microsoft Word. You have Slides, which is similar to PowerPoint, Sheets, similar to Excel, Drawings. Now that is a very interesting tool where you can create vector shapes, images. Then you have Google Keep, which I love. Google Keep is one of those hidden tools that you can't see off the bat. You just have to hear about it word of mouth or read it somewhere. We can talk more about that later. So hopefully you've taken away that Google has a suite of cloud-based productivity tools. And you, because you've created a Gmail account, or maybe your organization or job has Google accounts for everyone, you have access to these for free. Now, if you are a teacher or a student at a school that has Google accounts, then because you have what's called an enterprise account, you automatically get unlimited space in your storage of your Google account. This is different from your personal Gmail account where you only get 15 gigabytes. Now, there is a small fee if you want to upgrade that to more. Now, because I'm a teacher, I definitely like to do a check-in. Here's what I'm going to ask of you first. What is the cloud? You can pick any one of the top 3 questions and go forth and answer it in the chat box. Hopefully you're live in the chat box and able to type. I'm going to switch back real quick to see if anyone can answer. I know that there's a slight delay in which you guys type and I talk, so it may take a few seconds for you to pop those answers in. So again, here are the questions. What is the cloud? You can write that in your own words based on what I've said so far. Maybe you're taking notes as well on the side. That's great. But remember, I will share this presentation. Question number 2, describe the relationship between the cloud and Google Drive. What is it? Are those 2 different things? Are they the same things? And number 3, type A, B, C, or D, or E. Google Drive provides what? I'm going to give you guys a few seconds to think about those. Pick what number you want to answer, put the number in, and go ahead and type in the answer. This will be an interactive webinar session. And please forgive my sniffing. I have terrible allergies. Okay, I'm going to check in and see if anyone answered anything. Don't see any answers yet, so maybe people are just afraid to go out there and answer a question. Excuse me. All right, so I'm going to move on to my demonstration mode. If you're able to answer the question, great. If not, I won't hold you guys up with that. So now I'm in a tab that this is my Google Drive. As you can see from my drive, I already have some folders in here, and I've tried to organize things cleaned up just for you. In your drive, you can create folders to organize the files that you put in here. And remember, I said you can save any file type inside of your drive: videos, PDFs, pictures, Word documents, even Microsoft Excel, Adobe Photoshop files. It doesn't matter. You can save any file type in your Google Drive, which is in the cloud and can be accessed from any device. However, those all take away from your storage. As you can see on this personal account, my storage, I'm using 14.3 gigabytes out of my 15. So I'm really pushing the limit there. Now, if you want to, you can upgrade that. So there's the option right there to upgrade storage. I don't even know how much it costs, but you guys can explore that on your own if you're interested. Or if you have an organizational account, for example, my school, we use Google Suite, G Suite. And because we have an enterprise account, we have unlimited amount of storage. Now, if you, like I said before, create a new document using any one of Google's productivity apps, there are even more over here, as you can see, then it doesn't take away from your storage, all of those docs. So if you are really bold and you decide to make the switch from Microsoft Office to G Suite, then you won't have to worry about taking up lots of space in your cloud. The other thing is you'll get the advantage of all the sharing and collaboration tools. Now, to create a new document, you would click New and go down to Google Docs. Now, there's an arrow here. I can either start with a blank document or from a template. And guys, I just want to add that you have this lovely from template option probably because of me. I say that because Google is really great at listening to feedback. So if you ever have any questions about something, you're like, dang, I really wish I could do this. Well, it's very easy to click on this gear right here and go to help. Once you go to help, if you scroll all the way down, it says send feedback. When you can type in what your issue is, you can even screenshot it. When you hit send, they listen to all of this feedback. They have actual people, not robots, people who read through those. And I remember putting in a help feedback form a while back about, hey, I wish that I could make a Google Docs template from this screen. Boom, there it is. You're welcome, guys. Okay, so now I'm going to go to from template because I just want to show you guys all of the template options that you have. A lot of people, like I said, they look at Google Docs and they say, well, this is just a watered down version. I can't do all the fancy things that I could do with Microsoft Word with Docs. Not true. And let's prove it by taking a look at our template gallery. So here I am. You have everything from, you can see the ones I've recently used: newsletters, letter formatting, lesson plans, project proposals, resume options, letterheads for business, informal, and more. Look, personal recipes. That's interesting. And if I scroll down, they even added these new ones that include LegalZoom. Wow. So these are add-ons: sales options, freelancer arrangements, education. In education, they have everything from essay formats, reports. These are great for students to start off with. If they're just starting to get to know Google Docs and you want their work to look professional, check these out. And of course, 2 lesson plan options at the bottom. So here we have it. This is Google's template gallery. Now, how did I get there? Again, I clicked on new, went down to Google Docs, hovered over this arrow, and hit from template. It automatically took me to the template gallery. Another way to get there that I'll show you is if you open a new tab and you go to docs.google.com, hit enter, it automatically takes you to the template gallery. That is true for any one of Google's G Suite productivity tools. So when I'm talking about, I'm going to close this presentation right here because I don't need any more. When I'm talking about productivity tools, I'm talking about docs, sheets, slides. They all have a template gallery that you can check out. Even Google Forms has a template gallery now, which, by the way, all my teachers out there, this is great because Google Forms has templates for quizzes that are actually self-grading and self-grading. Okay. Oh, look, I'm looking at answers. Great. Abiel, this is perfect. A server-based storage system, which is usually off-site and can be accessed through the internet. Yes, exactly. For everyone who picked question number 3, that is correct. It can do all of those things. And Claudia, yes, I'm glad, so glad that you like the templates. Yes, Therese, self-grading. The Google Forms that you make can be self-grading. Like I said, and that is something that was new as of last summer, I want to say. They listened to the educators. You know, we were using all these formulas to try and self-grade if you even went that route for self-grading in your forms, but now it's self-grading. Of course, that depends on you using multiple choice or not. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a new document, a blank one. So I'm clicking on blank document. As soon as I create a new Google Doc, it is automatically saved in my drive. So something to note about all of these productivity tools, the G Suite. Any one of these that you make, it automatically saves it in your My Drive. So those things are connected. They're not saving on your computer or that device itself. It's saving in the Google's cloud, which is called Drive. And I'm going to refer to it as My Drive right here because there are other features in My Drive that may confuse things. So right now, the first thing I like to do when I create a new document is to change the title. I just go up here to Untitled Document because it doesn't have a title. And I'm going to change this to Google Docs with Lucia. And this is going to be this. Because like I said earlier, this is an interactive webinar, so I'm actually going to ask some of you to do some work. That's right. That's why hopefully you open a new tab and have both the live stream and your My Drive open. So right now I've added a third tab, which is my Google Docs. Right now you see a blank page. There is this long toolbar here that has lots of options, formatting options that are very similar to what you would see in Microsoft Word. There are even more options hidden within these menus here. You have the basics such as bold, italic, underline. You also have changing the font. Now, when I click on this font list, you know, most people, they skip right over this very first one. It used to be on the bottom, but Google switched it to the top because they noticed that people didn't realize. Well, as you can see, my font list is way longer than probably yours is. That's because I added a bunch of fonts. Because when you go to more fonts, guess what? Opens up a new window and there are way more fonts. And look, my bar gets to the bottom. It doesn't stop there. The bar just gets smaller because you just keep going and going and there's endless amounts of fonts there. Now, by checking off, as you can see, I have check marks. You're basically customizing your list of fonts. So you have kind of unlimited access to a large amount of fonts. And you can go ahead and select which ones you want to show up on your menu. So no longer are the days where you have to scroll down forever to find the font that you always uses. No, if you only want 5 fonts on your list, then by all means, you can X out all of these and create a customized list of fonts that are your go-to all the time. If you want to sort, you can sort by popularity, by alphabetical, which I hardly ever do because who knows what the names of fonts are that I like. I don't know. You can also sort by date added. There's a community of sharers who add these fonts to give you free access to them. or trending. Over here, you can also sort by the type of font. So a display font, handwriting, monospace, serif, sans, all of that. You can explore that. You can also search up here because obviously it's Google. There's always going to be a search option. Once you create your list, you press OK, and all your fonts show up. So that's a cool thing about fonts that I learned in Google. Now, before I get deep into the formatting options, if you want, you're welcome to open up a new tab or to go to your new tab, your My Drive, and practice creating your own doc. I'm going to go back to My Drive in the meantime because I want to show you where my doc is. Remember when I told you that your docs are automatically saved to your drive? Well, take a look down here under Files. So I'm in my drive. I have the quick access files, which are the files that I've been using the most lately. And then I have my folders. This is the folder section. Under that, there are my files. Here's the file, the Google Doc that I just created. Google Docs with, if I hover over it, it tells me the whole name. I can also change the way this looks. If I don't like this large icon, I can use the details. So if I click on details, it looks a little different, but all my folders are always at the top. Then there's my one Google Doc that I just created. It says who the owner is, which is me. And then it says the time that it created. Now you might say, well, why aren't there any file size here? Well, because it is a Google Doc and it does not take away from your storage. All right, I'm going inside my doc again. I want you to notice something. When I type, or as I type, this word is appearing right here, saving, because it auto saves as you actively use the doc. The more I type, blah, 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 the more it saves automatically. So if I insert pictures, anything, there's no longer that need or that scare, oh my gosh, I forgot to hit save, or I'm saving over a document that was already named this, and so I'm deleting it by accident. No, no, no. It's automatically saved in your drive. And something else that's really cool about this is that you see, this is actually a link. I can tell it's a link because every time when I hover over it, I get that Mickey Mouse hand with the pointer. That means I can click on it. This allows me to click and see different versions of this document's history. So I can go through in the history and see at what time certain changes were made and by whom. As you can see right now, it says current version was made in 6/31. I can click on 6/26, and if I want to restore back to this version, I can. And that's right. Every little change that's made is stayed in your vision history. This is great for students who are working in groups in graduate school, because if you want to know and figure out who messed up the document or somebody deleted something, you can go right into that link up here that's just called the revision history. You can also access the revision history by clicking File and going down to, oh, they changed the name. It's called Version History now. And then click See Version History. And I'll open that up and I can see all the history. Again, you can also restore to that version. Something else you can do is if you want to name your versions, you can click on this instead of calling it by this date and time. I like to actually keep the date and time. Then you can say Lucia edit. I pronounce Lucia. There we go. So if I want to call this Lucia edit because Lucia made an edit at that time, I can. If you're working on a special project in collaboration with a bunch of people, you may want to go in and say, okay, at this date and time, we added page 3, which is the project projection cost, so the timeline. This, because once you start getting a really long history down here, it's hard to really find what you're looking for. But if you want to make note of specific changes, just in case you want to go back, you can go ahead and rename those. If you hit these 3 dots here, you get the option to remove the name afterwards, and it'll go back to the date and title. So I'm going to go back to my actual docs. I'm going to check to see if there are any comments. Are there any questions out there for anyone? Abiel made a great point. You don't have to worry if your computer crashes. That is true. With any doc that you have, because it's automatically being saved to the drive, you don't have to worry if anything happens to the actual computer. If it crashes on the ground, screen breaks, oh my gosh, I wasn't able to save it. No, it's okay. As long as it's connected to the internet, it's automatically saving to the drive. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to focus on some of the sharing and collaboration tools before I get into some of the edit features. As you can see on the top right corner, there's this lovely blue share icon. Now, I have a few viewers. I think I have about 5 or 6 total. Can you go ahead and put your email address in the chat box for me if you would like to be actively engaged in today's webinar? That means actually doing something on your computer, engaging with the document that I just made. Those of you who are selected will get a grand prize of bragging rights. Excuse me, guys. Okay, Teresa, I see your question. Is there a way to convert a file from another format so that it is a Google file, or would I have to copy paste everything? No, you wouldn't have to copy paste everything. There's definitely an easy way to convert files. If you are ready to make the switch from Microsoft Word files to Google files, there's actually a setting that you can turn on inside of your My Drive so that any document that is a Microsoft Office document that you import into your My Drive automatically gets converted. You can do it that way, or if you just want to test out doing it with one file, you can upload that document, and then there's an easy way for you to actually make a copy of it as a Google Doc or presentation, slides, presentation, or sheets. Okay. So now I'm going in to check and see if anybody said that they want to be an active member. So this again means that I'll give you a series of small challenges to actually do in this doc. I'm going to share this. That's not it. Share this blank Google Doc with you. Anyone at all? So I think what I'll do is perhaps I'll just start with the people who are in the chat. And I'll start by sharing their email addresses. So Teresa, I know your email address by heart. I'm going to go ahead and go to the Google Doc. This is how you share a document with someone else. Now, sharing a document with someone else is like opening up a second door to this room. I'm using the word room as a metaphor for the doc itself. It's just another access point so someone else can view your file or edit your file or comment on your file. You get to decide what parameters you want to set for sharing documents. A lot of people, when they make the switch to Google Drive, before they make the switch, one of their main concerns is, well, how do I know that somebody won't, if I share a document with them, they won't have access to my whole drive and all that? No, it doesn't work like that. You have the autonomy over what level of access you give people and who you give access to. So I'm going to start off by clicking the share icon. As you can see, it already says it's private and only shared with me. The easiest way to share with a small group of people is by typing in their email addresses. Now, if you're using your Google account that's attached to, let's say, your Gmail, it may auto-populate some of the email addresses for you. So I'm going to start, as I can see here. The other one I'm going to do is Michelle, your email address. Let me just go back to my Gmail real quick because Thank you, Senora Chadwick. I see that, Claudia, I see that she shared that she messed up a doc and recovered it with the version history, which makes it really easy to use it worry-free. Like, oh my gosh, I messed up something and I need to go back to this old version. Oh, for the teachers out there, another great thing about revision history would be that it allows you to keep students accountable for things. Because as you can see when you're in the version history, you can see the date and the time that they made edits or that they didn't make edits. So if they come to you like, oh, I changed it, but it just magically deleted. Well, you can say, okay, go to the revision history and actually look at when they made the change. Oh, you changed it on Friday? Well, I see that you actually didn't make the change till this morning. So actually you did this project very last minute and you call them on their stuff, basically. The other thing that's great about it is if you have a group of students who are working together, or those of you who are in grad school, you're working together, it allows you some evidence of accountability for who's actually doing work in this document, because you can see who actually made what edit. And that is because they will be signed into their Google account when they access it. So I just wanted to share that with you. Now you can see that Therese is inside of my Google Doc because I've shared it with her. I hover over share and it says it's shared with one person. Plus I see this T here and it tells me because Therese is logged in to her Google account, I can see where she is. I can see where her cursor is. Hers is pink. I don't know what color mine is on her computer or device, but it's there. Is there anyone else who's willing to go into this? I'm thinking maybe Abiel. Haha. Let's see. I'm going to go back over here and get Abiel's email address and Michelle's email address. Let's see. And Senora Chadwick, if you are willing, you're welcome to come in as well. Let's see, who else? Michelle. Is there anyone else who's interested in being added to the Google Doc to do this series of challenges? Okay, so I just shared that Google Doc with you. Here's what happens when you share a Google Doc with someone. I'm going to go ahead and share it with myself, one of my other accounts. And then I'm going to go to that. You'll get an email that says the name of the file, and it says the words invitation to edit. When you click on that email, it has a link for you to click on that file or a blue button, either or. And it tells you the level of access that you were given. Right now, I gave everyone edit access. So as soon as they get into that doc, they can change anything they want. The great news is if they mess anything up, it's okay. I can always go back in my version history and revert back to an old one. So what I'm going to do while you guys are navigating to your emails to try and get into the doc, I'm going to create a table. Do that by clicking Insert, Table. That's right. You can insert tables into a Google Doc, people. You may not have seen that setting up here and no, it's not like Microsoft Word, but still able to do it. So I'm going to go down. I'm going to make about 6 by 4. And I'm going to put your name here. This is going to be for pics. This is going to be, so I would like everyone to go ahead and pick a number and click inside of the cell in the table next to your number. First come, first serve. Claudia, welcome. I see you. As you can see, You can type with each other and chat with each other just by typing into the doc. But there's an actual more formal chat. So I'm just setting up the challenge for us here. I'm going to make this a little. Okay, so hopefully you've heard what I said. If you can pick one of the numbers here. Type your first name in there or a guest name, whatever name you choose. It's fine with me. And then I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a challenge. So let me go back and see if there are any questions. Michelle can't do it because she's accessing through her phone. Okay. Well, actually, you could do it accessing through your phone if you have the Google Docs app on your phone, which is a free download. Okay, Teresa has number 5. Great. And Claudia has number 2. Awesome. So the first thing I'm going to do is teach you all how to do some of the basic insert options. Basic insert options. So the first thing I'm going to do is click inside of my cell that is across from my name and under the word pick. In order to insert a picture, and this picture can be from several places, a picture that's saved on your computer or device already, a picture that is on the internet, and a picture that may be in your Google Drive. The first thing you do is go up to your insert menu, click insert, and go to image. Image is different from drawing. We'll do drawing afterwards. When I go to image, it gives me the options about where I can pull this picture from. Upload from my computer, search the web, Drive, Google Photos. That's what this icon means here, that Google Photos icon. By the way, if you're interested in a Google Photos workshop, I can definitely do that too. Oh, we have another player here, Abiel. Great. And you can also take a photo from your camera. We're going to go ahead and choose the search the web option. When I click search the web, Google is so great. They've created a way for me to search the web for images from within the same screen. So no longer do you have to go out to a new tab, go to Google, click on images, or search. Let's say I was looking for cats, which I'm allergic to, so I don't know why I'm searching that, but go to images, then right click, copy an image, and do all of that to insert into. You can certainly do it that way, but you don't have to anymore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I'm clicked in again to this second column across from my name, and I'm going to find an image, and I'm going to insert it. Wow, that cat has 2 different color eyes. That's kind of creepy. Let's go with this cat, looking very innocent. So I can check off more than one, which is a new feature. Before you can only do one. But I'm just going to check off one, and I'm going to hit insert. It says creating images. And because Google's so cool, it automatically resizes the image to fit nicely in my wonderful cell. So I challenge you guys to go ahead and do that. Go ahead and insert a picture. Again, you click on insert, you go to image, and we're going to search the web for an image. So that is a great way to insert an image from the web that you're searching for without having to move outside of Google's window. You do it all within the same window. I'm going to take a few seconds and see what our team comes up with. By the way, we have room for one more. So they're in there Looks like Abiel might be first. We'll see what type of images they decide to put in there. Yep, Abiel is first. And what does that say? Rick and Morty? I'm not familiar with whatever that is. I think he's advertising a movie. I see Blu-ray. Interesting. You were successful. Great job, Abiel. Therese decided to insert photos of some ceramic work. Is this for your work, Therese? It looks like it. It's very detailed. So perhaps she didn't search the web. She may have inserted directly from her device or from her Google Drive account, which is pretty cool. And Claudia has a wonderful picture of the Eiffel Tower, perfectly resized. All right, the next challenge that I'll have you do is to insert a drawing. Now, you can insert drawings based using an app called Google Drawings. If you click on insert and you go down to drawing, and look, guys, you can see all these other great options here, the other things that you can insert. Table, this is a table example. I love to use tables all the time with students with things like this. This is great for teachers. If you have a morning prompt that you want all of your students to do, but you want an easy way to share all of their prompts with each other, but you don't have time for each of them to say what they said in class, this is a great way to do it, to share a Google Doc with the class, have everyone, maybe you can write their names in advance. Let me get out of this. So you could put their names in advance, or maybe you pick 5 students for each day that you do it, and you have a writing prompt or maybe a picture at the top, and they have to go ahead and write their prompt in based on that. This is a great way to give every student a voice, because you have those students who, if you say, who wants to share their writing, their morning do now and their prompt with everyone, then only the same few are going to answer, raise their hands. But this way, you give everyone a chance to share. All right, so Abiel's already into his drawing and he's inserted something. I didn't even tell you what the challenge was yet. So in your Google drawing, you're going to go to Insert Drawings, and this drawing feature, it gives you a cool way to use geometric shapes to create a drawing. I was going to challenge you guys to make the house of your dreams. Go for it. So you can do so by using these tools up here at the top. The top 2 that you're going to use are probably the text box and the shapes. Click on shapes. You have lots of regular shapes, stop signs with numbers, smiley faces, hearts, flags, other things. You have a bunch of arrows that you can use, call outs, equation symbols. So if you were a math teacher and you wanted to share a doc with everyone that had a specific math equation at the top, you can do that. And then everyone could share their answers and how they did it underneath it, or a picture of their work, how they showed their work for their homework. That'd be a cool way to do that. Also, these call outs are great for language arts teachers. Anyone who is trying to have their students maybe recreate a scene that they read in a book, and they can use the call outs to create somewhat of a comic book story if they wanted to, or a graphic novel, right? I've seen students get really creative with these things. You can right click to change the background color. You can make it transparent. You can even make it gradient. So go forth and be great. I'm gonna make a quick house real quick. Let's see. House of my dreams, eh? Boom. Let's try that again. Here we go. And let's change the color. You can change the color of the border. When you select the shape, you see that you get way more options up here. So not only can I change the color of the inside, the fill, border color, the thickness of the border if I want it to be really thick or really thin. We can change the type of border, dots maybe, getting fancy. And you can change the font. And you might be like, wait, there's no font there. Well, if you double click, you can type inside of any shape, which is pretty cool. And those 3 dots always mean there's more options. Because you can type, of course, you get all these great formatting options: bold, italic, underline, change the color of the text. You can center and align the text the way you want. You can change the line spacing between your paragraph lines. You can add bullets, and you can indent. All right. So you have lots of options there. Building my house. Now, don't spend too much time on this, guys. It's just a quick way for you to see that you can insert drawings. I also like to use this to insert text or images that I want words around, but I can't do it as nicely on Google Docs as I would on PowerPoint or slide, but I want it to be in my docs. So you can use that in this space, because if I wanted to, I could put a text box here and say, my house is the best. And I can save and close, and it will automatically insert that and resize it inside of my drawing. Wow. Claudia, that house is great. You even have a son. I'm loving it. I'm guessing Teresa's still working on her house. She's an artist, so I suppose so. All right, the next thing I'm going to show you how to do is insert a quote. This was formerly known as the research tool. Let's see. Oh, we have a question. Sorry, I paused for the calls, guys. How do you color? Oh, how do you color your image? Oh, once you create your image in Google Drawings, you can go ahead and double click or click once and hit edit. The color, you click on the shape, and once you select the shape, it gives you the option to change the fill color. So I'm going to do that again. I can click on the shape. I can click on fill color. I can change the color here if I want the top of my roof to be blue. If I want it to be a gradient, I can choose one of these gradients or customize your color. Now, this is a really new feature, this whole gradient customization thing. So let's say I wanted my roof to be, oh, I don't know, go from this kind of red to that kind of red. And instead of a radial, I want it to be linear. So it goes from dark to light. You can change the angle in which this is going. You can also add stops on the gradient line. If I add another, then I could add a mid color that transitions in the middle. I can change where that transitions. As you can see, there's more light. And if I drag this over, it's darker. It's pretty cool. So because this is Google Drawings, you can actually create vector images. That's right. That means you can create your own logo using Google Drawings, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to go ahead and save and close that. Let me check out, see if there's any questions over here. Teresa had an issue with her house. It's on the second page. Let me scroll down. Whoa, awesome. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and show you how to cut and paste this. That's a pretty cool house. Teresa used the line tool for her house, I could see. Is this a well in the front of your house? So I'm going to select the image, and I am going to go to edit and cut your image out. And then I'm going to click where I want your image to go, which is next into this cell. I'm going to edit, hit paste. And again, it automatically resizes it so it fits nicely. Great. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is I'm going to teach you how to insert a footnote. This is super helpful for those who are doing research papers who want to share with their students how to do so. Or if you're doing research yourself for something and you just want an easy way to track your sources. So if you click on insert and you go all the way down to, where'd it go? Footnote. There it goes. Control Alt F. A footnote obviously goes at the bottom and it puts a number there. But that is not quite the way that I wanted to do it. So I'm going to undo that. Control Z. Control Z again. There it is. Actually, I'm going to go back to image, search the web. And I'm going to type anything like cat again. Let's see what happens. I don't see that option anymore. So Google is always changing things, guys, and you kind of have to like roll with it. In the tools option, you'll see there is a spell check. There's even a word count that's based on what you highlight. Ah, I forgot. It's called Explore. There we go. They changed the name. It used to be called the research tool. What we're doing is now Explore. So I clicked in my fourth column. I'm clicking Explore. Now on the side here, I get a few different options. I can search my docs. That means everything that's in my drive, or I could search the web as well. So I'm going to type in MLK, obviously standing for Martin Luther King Jr. Again, Google is making it easier for you to accomplish tasks like researching things from within the same window. So here I am. I have the same thing I would see if I was to go over to another tab and go to google.com and hit all. I see the same type of search results, but all from within the same tab. There are my web results. I can go to images for image results. I can go to my drive for results within my drive. And they're always refining this and making it better. I'm going to click back up here, and I'm actually going to put MLK quote. Now, there used to be an option for you. Oh, there it is. Ha, ha, ha. Well, cite as footnote, really. I'm going to go ahead and say, let's say I clicked on this because I want to check out the website. It opens up in a new tab, and I want to see, is this website really reliable? Is it credible? No, I don't like that one. So I close it, I go back, and maybe I'm like, okay, let's try Business Insider. Let's see what Business Insider has to say. Let's say I read this article, I really like it. So I want to save this as a source. So as you can see, there's a quotation mark right here. And when I hover over it, it says cite as a footnote. Perhaps when you went to this website, you typed some information about it, blah, 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 in your own words. And now you want to cite that source because perhaps this isn't a table. Perhaps this is a whole document of information like an essay or a report, and you have to cite your sources because you just wrote some information about a really important topic. So if I click on that quotation marks, it gives me a footnote. Right now, the footnote is number 1. If I scroll down to the bottom, look what I have there. In my footnotes, there's a number 1. It automatically puts the title in there. It automatically puts a link, and then it puts the data access. So I basically have a little bibliography going on in my footnote section. And so I challenge you guys to go ahead and do the same. Yes, I know. To everyone out there who went to college before Google, it's frustrating. The kids have it so easy now. So imagine if I was just doing a bunch of research and not really actually creating my research document, just checking out different links. I can make a whole list of links and insert them from right here and have them all in the same document. Then I could go and hit share and share them with all my group members. Like, hey guys, I started the research. Let me know what you think about these links. Then I'll show you how they can comment on it. That's what's coming up next, folks. And then we'll start to wrap up because it's already 7:02. Oh my gosh, there's so much. Again, you can also from here pull in images. So let's say I hit enter and I wanted to pull in this image. Hit insert, make an image there. So that's another way to pull in images. Again, how did I get there? I went to tools, I went to explore. So let's see if anyone has any other questions. Oh, pottery wheel, Teresa, it's her pottery wheel. Thanks for trying. Sydney, you're here. No worries, Central Time. Totally understand that. Well, Sydney, since you just got here, basically we started off by introduction to the cloud and Google's cloud, which is called Drive. Showed everyone how to access templates, which is by clicking new, docs from template, or we created a blank template. I share it with a few of my guests, and I show them how to insert pictures from the web, which you can do all within the same screen, how to insert a drawing, and then how to insert a footnote. which automatically creates this wonderful cited source at the bottom. And the other thing is, once other people start putting their footnotes in, again, they can search whatever they want. I search MLK. And then as you hover over these different links, you see a quotation mark appearing. You click on that quotation mark, it inserts a footnote to that resource. I'm going to go ahead and delete this, bring this up. Okay, Claudia, I see that you inserted a picture. Where's your footnote? Let's see. I'll try it again. Maybe I need to show you guys how to do it again. So let's say I typed in, I'm going to go ahead and erase this footnote, which, by the way, automatically erases the footnote down here. Excuse me, guys, allergies. Okay, let's say I type some notes about a particular website that I went to. Notes. And I want to quote these notes that I typed, or I want to cite the source rather. I click this quotation mark, creates a number for the footnote, and I scroll down to the bottom, and there it is right there. So that's what I was testing, hoping that everyone could try. Okay. Now, right now, for those of you who are just joining, this is a Google Doc that has been shared with a few of our viewers who are so brave and challenged and trying to try some new things. I shared this document with them using the share icon here at the top. As you can see, it says share with 4 people. As I was explaining earlier, you can change the level of access that people have to it. When I go back to my share settings here, I can either add more people, and notice that across from the space where I can add people's names or email addresses, it has a pencil. So that means that they can edit the files directly, which is what some of our viewers are doing now. I can change that level of access where if I don't want them to be able to edit, maybe I only want them to be able to view. I can click on view. That means they can only see what's in the document. They can't touch it. If you wanted to, you can change this to comment, where not only can they view, but they can also comment on the work. And I'm going to show you more about how comments works, because that brings us to our next level of sharing and collaboration that start to surpass what Microsoft Office can do. In addition to that, in my share settings, you'll see this little link down here that says advanced. If I click on it, here, this shows me a list of the people who have access to this document. And from here, I can choose to revoke access by clicking the X on their name, across from their name, or I can change the level of access that they have to either they can edit, they can comment, they can view, or I can make them the owner. If I want to transfer ownership, meaning it no longer belongs to me, I can give them access, complete access to it, which is great for people who work in institutions or businesses. If you are sharing documents with someone and someone's leaving your business, they can transfer ownership of their docs to the person who's coming behind them. Another thing that you'll notice down here is that there are additional settings that you can edit or change. These are more access level settings. For example, if you want to prevent editors from changing access of other people or adding other people, then you can check that box here where this can no longer be shared by anyone else that is on this list with anyone else. If I want to disable the option for people to download, print, or make a copy, then I can check that off as well. I'm going to hit done, see how people are going. Yeah, I don't see any in there, so I'm just going to continue with the next part. Let me check back on my YouTube. Okay. The next thing I want to show you guys, and I'll try to wrap this up soon, but I think this is really important, is how to comment on work. So let's say I have a shared doc with either someone at my job and we're collaborating on a project, or if you're a student, this is a group project, or if you're a teacher and you're looking at a child's work and you want to leave some positive feedback or just feedback in general on their work. You can highlight any part of their document. And once you highlight it, you'll get this little bubble that pops up on the right side. It's the same as this bubble that's up here in the toolbar. This is your add comment bubble. So we're going to click that and it automatically says my name and I can say, wow, great work. Look forward to the final product. And I can hit comment. Boom. As soon as I hit comment, it gives me this bubble that pops out on the right side. So this is different than me actually typing in the document and making changes to the document. It's a comment that's on the side. It tells me the date and the time that the comment was made and who made the comment. This is great also for students if you are looking for peer feedback from someone about something, or you want your students to self-correct each other. If you're an educator and you have students in the classroom, you just taught them perhaps something in grammar. You can have one student actually type up an essay and another student, you can assign them partners where they go in, they check each other's work. You have grammar partners and they leave commentary on the side. So this allows them to practice the skill of giving feedback and communicating with someone else. And then also practicing the skill of grammar that you just taught them. It will show a level of mastery as well. If you can, go ahead and try commenting on someone else's house. So you can leave comments on pictures as well. As soon as you click on it, you click on that bubble, go forth and be great. Once someone leaves a comment, anyone else who has access to the comment can also reply to it. So if there's a question that they have that they want to use to clarify information that was said in the comment, then they can go ahead and hit reply. Like, I don't understand. Please explain further. Now, once you start actually making comments on documents, you can always, they're always there. They're always saved and archived. Now, if I wanted to, I could resolve this comment because perhaps it was my project leader coming into my document and saying, hey, you need to change this, this, and this. I can actually hit resolve to the main comment. And as you can see, once I hit resolve, it went up into that little comments window next to the share button. Well, if I go back and click on the share button, it shows me the archive comments. So even though it went away here on the side panel, it's still archived there forever. So comments don't go away, basically. Abiel did go in. Yeah, his is very detailed. He has windows that are different colors. Door is really small. Nice moon, though. So thank you for practicing the comment feature. It's a great way to give feedback. Now I want to show you a different way that you can give feedback that most people don't know that you can do. It's called suggesting mode. So I'm going to click on, if you notice, there's a pencil over here. Oh, that's the wrong one. Here, this pencil, the pencil that's under the share icon. Right now I'm in editing mode. That means I can edit and make all sorts of changes to the document. If I click this, I get two other options. Viewing mode, which is great for just reading the document if you want to scroll through it and highlight things without actually making changes. Or if I want to just see how people who have given view only access will see it. This is what it will look like for them. So this is view only mode. This is what it would look like for someone who has view only access. Like they could try to click on things, but they won't be able to. This also does not permit them to have comment access. If you want them to be able to comment, then you have to give them comment access. Now, suggesting mode. That's what I'm going to go to next. Under suggesting mode, the edits that you make, suggestions, and are not finalized until the owner chooses to accept your suggestions. So, for example, I might say, welcome to Lucia's webinar. Explanation point. As you can see, everything that I'm typing is highlighted in this green box. Even the spaces. And then it automatically, Google creates this comment box that says, add to Lucia's webinar, which is in quotes what I just typed. Now, if I get out of editing mode, I could also go over here and say to Claudia, thanks for joining us. I could also do things like delete information. Let's say this entire row we did not use. So if I want to right click and delete that row, I can suggest that we delete that row. Now, if I go back to editing mode, we can choose to accept the suggestions that were made. This is perfect for teachers, or if you are reviewing someone else's work and you don't want to actually change their work, but you want to make a suggestion with how to change it. I've had teachers who in the classroom, they have students use this tool where the teacher will have an essay written that has a bunch of mistakes in it, grammar, spelling, what have you. Then they share this document with a student who is then tasked to go in and give suggestions to the teacher about what types of things they found that should be changed. This is a great way for them to practice again those skills of revision work. So if I want to accept, all I have to do is hit the check mark. Oh, look, there's a new feature. See a preview of your document with accepted or rejected suggestions, and accept and reject all suggestions at once by going to Tools and Review. That's good to know, but I don't want to use that right now. Excuse me, guys. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and accept my other suggestion to delete a row. Suggesting mode, again, is a great way to make recommendations to someone without actually changing their document and giving them the power to decide whether or not they want to use your suggestions. It's different from leaving a comment in that you're actively doing something in the document. It's just not finalized until someone actually hits accept. Let me know if you have any questions about that. Okay, Therese says she had an issue with the Explore option, wanted to use an image from Pinterest, wasn't sure about it. Okay, so I'm assuming in your search, Therese, you may have Googled something by going to Tools, Explore. I'm not sure what you typed in. Let's say I put Pinterest, I don't know, cats. I don't know why I keep going towards cats today. Or maybe images. So this image might be from Pinterest. If I hit insert image, it automatically inserts, but it's not inserting with a citation. So the citations are going to come from the web results. I'm not sure if you were on web results, Therese. So we can talk more about that later if you want. All right, something else I just want to briefly scroll through are these menus to show you a few other options before we say goodbye. I know, sad face, it's almost that time. So if I click on File, you'll see that you have the option to make new files directly from this file. So you don't have to go all the way to My Drive and hit New and go down to whichever productivity tool you want. Instead, you can go File, New, and make any one of these straight from this menu. You can also open other things that are in your drive from this menu, which is fairly new. You can make a copy of your file from here as well. Something that is important to note is that when you share a file with people, whether it's view access, comment, or edit access, they have the option to make a copy of the file, unless you go into the share settings, go to advanced, and check off disable options for people to download, print, or make copies. So anyone that you share your document with can technically make a copy of your file. Once you make a copy, let me show you what happens. I hit make a copy. It asks me, number one, what do I want to call it? By default, it calls it copy of whatever the original name was. I'm going to keep it that. And then actually what folder in your drive you want to share it to. So instead of just my drive, I might choose one of these folders that I want to share it with. That's what you would do. And then you would hit save. You can decide whether or not you want to share with the same people automatically, which is nice. Because maybe you want a different version of something slightly different, but you still want to share with the same people. You can also decide if you want to copy the comments and suggestions that are already in this file. When you finish, you press OK, and it makes the copy for you. The copy, again, automatically shows up in whichever folder you decided for it to go into. The other thing that is great over here is that you can download any Google productivity tool as a Microsoft document. Because Google Docs goes hand in hand with Microsoft Word, you can actually download it as a Microsoft document. You can also download it and save it as a PDF. These are the easy go-tos. They even have an option to save it as a web page, which is interesting. You can email this doc as an attachment to people straight from inside of the doc. So if I click email, it gives me the option to save it, to send it in the email attached as a PDF, as a Microsoft Word document. Hey, for the entrepreneurs out there, I use this in my business all the time when sending invoices. I have a template that I created that is a Google Doc, and I often share it or reuse the same template. And after I'm finished, I send it as a PDF to a lot of my clients. I can put a message in, I put their email address in here, subject, message. I can choose to send a copy of this email to myself, and then I hit send. It's a nice feature to have. Something else that I like that you can do from here is that you can email all of the collaborators from the menu. So that means anyone who's working in this file or who has access to it by you typing in their email, you can go to email collaborators and look, there they are. And I can decide, let's say if I wanted to remove Michelle and not send her this message because it doesn't apply to her, I can email everyone in this doc and say, hey, this is a reminder to work on your paragraph. The project is due on such and such date. Boom. Or the client wants this done by X, Y, and Z. Again, you could choose to send a copy to yourself or even paste it into an email. I'm going to hit cancel there because I don't really want to do that. For those of you who want more advanced features about changing the margins and the page size, that you'll find under page setup. I'm not going to go into detail about that because that's a more advanced option. A few other things under these menus, under the hood here. You do have a find and replace option. If you want to find a word or a set of words on your document and replace it with another word, then you can use that. You type in the name of the word and replace it. You can choose match case, and there are a few other options there. If I go to insert again, so you have the option to insert a chart from sheets. So if you have a Google sheet or a spreadsheet that has data in it and you want to insert a pie chart using that data, you can do that here. That's a more advanced feature. You can insert a horizontal line. I'll show you what that looks like. I like to use this when I'm separating sections of a project file. It makes it look a little more refined. Special characters. If you're looking for special characters, this is where you find them. If you want to insert an equation as a math teacher, if you want to insert page numbers or page count in your header or your footer, there's your option there. You can break and add a page break or a column break if I was in columns. From here, page break just basically means that it starts a new page automatically, even if you're only in the center of the page. So instead of hitting, if I'm down here, instead of me hitting enter a bunch of times to get to a new page, I can just go insert, page break, boom, gives me another page. Table of contents is a more advanced feature in Docs, but that is a great tool that I love. It allows you to create links at the top of or anywhere really within your document that will jump you to another part of the document. Formatting text. Here are all your options for formatting text, bullets, numbering. You can also clear formatting. Tools menu, again, you have spell check, word count, the Explorer. There's even a dictionary. If you're familiar with Google Keep, then you can send this to your Keep. You can translate an entire document. Hey, for all the students out there, no cheating on your Spanish class. You can also invoke or allow voice typing. This is great. I love this. This allows you to type hands-free without using your keyboard or your mouse. It's basically going to transcribe what you say. So I'm going to test this out for you. Well, the first time you do it, you do have to hit allow. They want to make sure it's not hacking your account. So wherever your cursor is, that is where your text is going to be entered. And as you can see, it is pretty accurate. And I click the mic to stop. Or I can hit escape on the keyboard to stop. There it is. And look, I just typed two or three sentences all at once. And I didn't say the word period, but if I said period, it would put as period. And there are a few other commands that you can put in there, like start new line. Great feature for students who don't have great motor skills or don't use the keyboard well. It's also great for the younger students, like third graders, who they may be just starting out typing, and to type a whole paragraph might take them 3 hours. So instead, you can have them use the voice to type feature. It's also great for people who are just busy and tired of using the keyboard. The last thing I'd share with you that I say explore on your own and perhaps you might want to learn about is the add-ons section. Add-ons are really what start to change the power of Google Docs over Microsoft Word. I showed you a bunch of cool features that Microsoft Word started off not having, like the comments, the editing, the sharing and collaboration with others. But add-ons is basically an app store of widgets that they call add-ons that are made by third parties that start to further enhance what you can do with Google Docs. And there are lots of add-ons in here. I encourage any and everyone to go in to the add-on section and look at the different types, whether it be through education, productivity, business. There's a lot of cool add-ons that enhance the features of Google Docs for you and will make things easier. Things that you thought weren't possible because you can't find them in these menus. Well, you can do it probably through an add-on. But that is a more advanced feature, so I will not cover that today. I think the last thing I did forget to share is with the sharing, you can also share a Google Doc with using a link. So let's say, for example, you're a professor and you have lots of students that you want to share this with. Obviously, you don't want to go and have to type everyone's email address one at a time, even though you might be able to copy and paste them from some sort of document. You can just click Get Shareable Link. And by clicking that, it gives you a link that you can share with anyone. And by the way, you can do that with any file that is saved in your Google Drive. Think about the logic. Your Google Drive is on the internet. It's in the cloud. It's on the web. Well, anything that is on the web has a link or an address, right? Well, any one of these files or folders, guess what? I get the same share and link icons that allow me to get a shareable link that I can then send to someone else. Just wanted to give you a little tidbit about that, which is, again, what makes Google's version of the cloud so great. The option to view is now on, but if I wanted the people that I'm sharing this with, meaning the world, since I'm doing a webinar, I can also say anyone with this link can edit. You can change the access just the way you would if you were typing an email. Okay. So guys, that is the basics of Google Docs. We talked today about insert options, formatting options for text. As you can see, there's also paragraph styles. You can have columns in your Google Doc if you wanted to, bullets and numbering. All of these features here are very similar to Microsoft Word. There's even a highlighter option if I wanted to highlight things. I can go in and choose a highlight color. Let's say I want this to be highlighted yellow. And highlight things for people in the documents. We also learned about the exploration tool and how you can insert footnotes, and you can also explore the web by typing in a search word and either insert a citation from any one of these sources, an image, or even something from your drive. We talked about revision history and how you can go back in time. And now I can see, wow, look at all these users that were here today. Now the revision history is only showing me 3. But if I expand this list here by clicking that arrow, it's going to give me more than what I originally saw. Let's see. Is it expanding? Expand detailed versions. I think my computer, there we go. So now I can see in a very clear timeline, minute by minute, all the changes that were made. If I wanted to revert back to the original, I can click on one and restore version. We also talked about Google's amazing sharing and collaboration tools, how you can share with others, how you can change the mode to suggesting mode, how you can make comments and those comments get saved. If you have any questions about anything, you're welcome to stick around. I know we are past the 7:30 mark, so let me go back to my live session. You're welcome to type your questions in here, or you can email them to me if you have a more extended question. I'd love to hear about what you want to learn next. If you want to learn more about Google Sheets, Google Slides, which is slideshow version, but can be used from way more than slideshows. Or if you want to learn about Google Drawings and Forms and how you can use those in your life, please let me know in the comments, the chat box on the side. The other thing I would ask of you is, before you leave as your exit ticket, even if you don't have any questions, tell me something new that you learned and how you're going to apply it in your day-to-day life. Thank you again for coming to this webinar session, Google Docs with Lucia for beginners. I hope to hear from you soon, and you should know that I plan to have my next session, next webinar on, let's see, what date did I decide? Tuesday, April 17th at 6 p.m. I will put the link in the chat box, but I'll also email you guys the link. If you would like to register, feel free to register now. Again, thank you for joining me. And thank you, shout out to everyone who actually actively engaged within the Google Doc and tried out some of the challenges. Now, this link is not going to be live. You'll have to copy and paste it. Oh, it is live. It's live for me. I don't think you guys can put live links in there. There you go. So thank you to everyone. And if you have a moment, please write something new that you learned and how you plan to apply it in your life in the chat box on the side. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you.